Alright, so The Rejection is a short story by Franz Kafka, very simple and only a few paragraphs long. It's told from the perspective of a man who is discussing what happens when he meets a pretty girl, and is an imagined dialogue between this boy and this hypothetical girl. The language is simple, the dynamics between the two timeless, and it rings as true of a street in Prague at the start of the 20th century as it does of a virtual meeting on Tinder nowadays. So in its glorious simplicity, The Rejection also deals with some of his pet themes: love, but most importantly, anxiety caused by sexual desire and rejection. Its conclusion is essentially an existentialist realization where both the narrator and the pretty girl realize that they may not be as important as they think they are, and that in order to keep up their self-delusion, the best thing they should do is carry on going about their separate ways. In other words, the delusion of being important, aka feeling like you're the most beautiful person ever, you're the most charming and the most interesting person ever, etc., is not worth the psychological pain that may result from realizing that you're not such hot shit. It's important to say that while the narrator is male, the man doesn't stop at merely criticizing the pretty girl for snubbing him, but really lays it out on himself too, in a very self-deprecating way. So it's not so much about gender as it is more about a universal self-delusion that many of us like to entertain ourselves in our everyday life. So I believe that it's quite easy to identify with these characters, no matter your gender or sexuality. If I'm wrong, get in touch with me and let me know what you think. So here we go. Here's a reading of The Rejection from Franz Kafka's Meditation. When I meet a beautiful young woman and ask her, "Be so good and come with me," and she passes me by without a word, she means by that, you are no duke with a lofty name, no strapping American with an Indian's build, with level placid eyes, with skin massaged by the air of the prairies and the rivers that flow through them. You have made no journeys to the Great Lakes or upon them, wherever they may be. So I ask you, why should I, a beautiful young woman, go with you? And this is what he says. You forget that no grand automobile conveys you, swaying in its long lunges, through the street. I don't see an escort of neatly dressed men murmuring blessings and following you in a precise semicircle. Your breasts are nicely arranged in your bodice, but your thighs and hips make up for this modesty. You are wearing a taffeta dress with pleats like those which delighted us all last autumn, and still you smile, wrapped in this mortal danger now and then. Yes, we're both right, and to avoid becoming irrefutably aware of it, shouldn't we rather go home alone?